Hi, everyone. I'm here on behalf of a number of colleagues who you may see on the lightning talk, and it's just because this project is so big and so great that I can't not mention them. And that's not even all the people that have been involved in this project. I also see some U of A and EPL people around, so hit me up later. So yeah, I'm Sandra Sawchuk. I'm here to talk about this amazing shirt grant that I have been involved in the last couple years. Uh, to build bridges to the past for historic census data. And I'm going to talk about very quickly as much as I can. So, our vision with this project is to build a fully bilingual Census of Canada portal and access portal for census data. Now, when I say portal, I mean to access the data where they live. So while a lot of work has been done on metadata and controlled vocabulary, we're not actually like downloading all of the census data. Those live where they live, but the portal is a place to access those data. We're taking a phased approach. So this project actually began before the grant that we received. You can see with the dancing star that we are in the second phase. So the third phase is actually the deployment of a portal that is usable. Right now we have a prototype, which is very exciting. Hopefully I can show it to you in a live demo, but I have some recordings too. So always a backup. Now, we are going to talk today just about two of the objectives of this grant, the objectives that are most interesting to this audience, which would be the inventory of the data and the metadata, as well as the prototype development of the portal, which we have working very amazingly. So this is a very complicated chart to show you what is in scope for the data, because you might be thinking historic census data, what does that involve? I mean, census has been collected in Canada since at least 1665. So there are so much historic data going back to the, foundations of this country. There are a lot of things that are in and out of scope. So any census of population in Canada that has ever been conducted is something that we are linking to in our portal, but we're not looking at other types of products like the Census of Agriculture. It's a cool thing, but it's just not part of the scope of our project. We are looking at documents and other types of information that might have tables or analyses. And we are looking at items which cover geographic territories, which might overlap boundaries of Canada that may not have been part of Canada at the time. So basically, anything to do with demographic data of the census of Canada is in scope for this project. And the reason why we've been working on this is for any of you who may have looked for census data, maybe in a genealogical research perspective, these data are all over the place. Some of them are held in Canadiana, some of them are held by Library and Archives Canada, some of them are at Statistics Canada still. And it can be very difficult for researchers to find what they're looking for among all these different access points. And this is the reason why this portal is so important to us in the library world, but also to researchers who conduct these types of work. Now, our data inventory is in Airtable. Airtable is not the best solution for us long term, but it worked really well as a collaborative tool. So we have had student employees across the number of universities who've been involved in this project. And Airtable, which is a proprietary database, it's online and students were able to log into it from anywhere. So our inventory currently lives in Airtable. As of the summer, 122 of 140 census have been inventoried, and we have four students at three universities that have been working very hard on this project. This is a little bit of information about the types of metadata that we have been collecting in our database, and anything that you see in bold is the authority record. So it's really interesting to see how much information is in the metadata of the Census of Canada, and I'm sure you can see just from this list the type of research that could be conducted on the metadata alone. So people on our team are already very interested in conducting content analyses and text analyses. Other colleagues of mine in the library world, outside of the data world, are interested in looking at, marginalized and underrepresented populations, racialized groups, and the ways in which these groups have been referred to over time. My personal research is in the ethnic origin question, and just so many papers could be written about the changes to that question in the census over time. So the metadata alone is fascinating, let alone the data that is accessible. So our end goal is to come up with a prototype or a permanent product that is open source and non-proprietary. Obviously, it's an Airtable right now, but that is a proprietary product that does not allow us to do what we want to do. So what we have done as a prototype was used our Shiny. Our Shiny, for those of you that don't know what that is, it's two separate types of technologies that work together. So R, the coding language, and Shiny, which is a deployment interface. So we have used the language R, but Shiny also works with Python. Um, R and Shiny are great. They're publicly available. There's no ownership of the data. And it's really extensible, which is something that we want and need for this project because it could go in many directions. So with the last little bit of time, I would like to show you, I'm not sure, okay, thank you. So I'm going to move over to this computer to show you a live demo. Now we're looking at a prototype, which is not publicly available. So if you do happen to see the URL, please do not visit it because it's a prototype, so it doesn't work completely. This mic works over here. I'm just gonna take this mic over here if I can. Okay, I don't know how I'm gonna talk. Great. Oh, he said that one. Amazing. So this is an R Shiny app that has been built by Zack Taylor at Western and an amazing student assistant. The last data update has been from September, so this is very new. And these data, it's pulling from a CSV file. So this is not pulling from Airtable. We've just downloaded a CSV file that has all the information. Our Shiny is great. You can see that we can search through all of the subject metadata. Here's ethnic origin, which is my research area, but you can see there are a number of different types of subject, like income. We can stack subjects here as well, which is really great. But the beauty part is in the data that we see. So when we are searching for any data from the database, say we're looking at income as a subject, this is listing all of the data that has been inventoried. These data come from Canada, Government of Canada publications, as well as archive.org. So two places you might not think to look when you're looking for census data. When you click on a record, you can see all of the metadata about that particular record, including the format of the files, any parallel titles, like this is bilingual, so it's browsable in French as well, any related subjects, and any related materials and documentation. I'm not going to click on this link because it will take me somewhere else, but this takes you directly to where the data are held. We also have built a visualization tool, which is just in its infancy, but you can see right away when we click on, let's say we're interested in a subject, which is part of our controlled vocabulary. Um, I'm going to click on domestic servants. Let's see. So we can see that there are data about the subject of domestic servants in the census going back to before 1794. We also have a download option here, so you can download the CSV or the plot itself. So while this prototype is in its very, very early stages, it's really easy to see how this type of project can transfer to other types of library projects. The code base for this is very, very small. And again, it's free. That's the biggest problem that we run into in these big grant funded projects. When the money runs out, the support runs out. So we're really dedicated to looking at open source and open access solutions. And our Shiny is really, really neat. So highly recommend checking it out. We can just go back to my last slide. You can see the contact information. It's the next one after this, 2 slides. I also recorded some recordings just in case this live demo didn't go, but highly recommend. Our website is there. If you're interested in the project or you want to know more about how we developed it, please get in touch. Thank you.